Hey YouTube, Dandy here. Halo is very much a serious and engaging topic for me, as it is for a lot of you. In the past half decade, this topic has shifted into a more somber one, and I'm sure all of you will agree that the division of the Halo community has played a huge role in this. The community has been in a civil war ever since Reach, and since that point, Halo's sales have dropped significantly. Halo has reached an all-time low, with Halo 5's sales and player count being disastrous, mortifying, and I think this was the amalgamation of everything happening both on the developers' end and the community's end in the past 6 years. The point of this video is to give history on what caused the community to split, why it remains split, whose fault it is, and what we can do to resolve this. Hopefully the Halo community can come together to help make Halo 6 not only a success, but the Halo game we've all been waiting for. What caused the community to split? When Halo 3 was finished, Bungie began work on the next Halo game, Halo Reach, and it was pretty good. However, Reach was surrounded by some strikingly questionable and bad decisions. The first issue is that Bungie didn't develop a sequel to Halo 3 and instead made a prequel to Halo CE. I understand that if Bungie made Halo 4, then 343 would have a tough time figuring out what their first project would be. But Bungie set up what would happen after Halo 3, and we have no evidence that their vision made its way into Halo 4. Secondly, a prequel to CE wouldn't work gameplay wise because this would have to be before the Mjolnir Mark V was issued, meaning that the game couldn't have energy shields. Yet Reach still had both, and many more oddities that ultimately make the game non-canon. These retcons came without any justification, and it's not as if this story is superior to the canon from the expanded universe. Quite frankly, Halo Reach has a terrible script that's all over the place, with many missions being filler, the writers forgetting that they tried to start developing characters, and outright stupidity at times. For instance, in the Long Night of Solace mission, George sacrifices himself to destroy a Covenant ship. Now what I'm thinking here is why they didn't send Emil to that mission. Not only is Emil actually the team's demo man, but he's a Spartan 3, someone who's supposed to be disposable. George is a Spartan too. Wasn't his death a monumental waste of resources? From this, fans of Halo's lore were very much turned off by Reach. So what about the game itself? Reach introduced Reticule Bloom, armor abilities, and a butchered version of ranked matchmaking, all of which scared off the competitive community. See, people gave a shit about your 50 in Halo 3, but your rank in Reach's arena had no practical or sentimental value. I bet most of you never even played a ranked game in Reach due to how inconsequential it was. Hell, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't even know that Reach had ranked. If you want an idea of how bad ranked was in Reach, it only had Slayer variants. No CTF, no Ball or King? Well, at the very least, Reach had a ranked playlist, unlike Halo 4. But Reach also had a new melee system that everyone hated. It had lowered jump heights and the DMR was just stupid. The armor abilities were inappropriate for Halo and broke the equilibrium established in the trilogy. You can argue all you want that armor abilities were balanced and had counterplay, but they weren't fitting for Halo's gameplay. Jetpacking on sword base just broke verticality, evade jumping off any angled surface gave you a bullshit amount of hang time, and sprint led to sword running and double melees. I don't think any of these, least of all armor walk, could be defended in a Halo game. Sure, you could disable armor abilities in custom games, and even a lot of matchmaking playlists and game types had armor abilities disabled, but the issues that were still prevalent, the DMR's rate of fire, jump height, melee system, and Reticule Bloom, left a lot of players stumped before the title update, which to this day is still the only good thing 343 has done for Halo. Reach effectively killed MLG Halo, and MLG's success was largely due to Halo 2 and 3, but nowadays MLG is literally a joke. Being an MLG Pro on Halo 3 gave you a monumental reputation, but being an MLG Pro on anything nowadays makes you a walking meme in the eyes of most people. Funny that esports in general is on the rise, but MLG alongside Halo is crumbling.
Is this what Halo is becoming? Asked a lot of people, fearing what could happen next.
Halo needed its community, so when its community started leaving and fighting amongst itself, well, you know what happened. Reach, in spite of its disappointments, was still a good Halo game overall, but the problems of Reach should have never been displayed in any Halo game ever again. There is no doubt in my mind that these controversies started to drop in Halo sales, as Halo 3 sold 12 million copies and Halo Reach sold 9.84 million. Regardless, Halo Reach still retained a significant portion of its community for years to come, even after Halo 4's release. 343 why? Now we're moving into Halo 4 territory. Well, Bungie's Reach brought forth ideas that started Halo's downfall. It was up to 343 to resolve these issues instead of perpetuating them. Man, in Halo 4, when shit hits the fan fucking breaks. Halo 4 was catastrophically bad. The weapon balancing was broken, Methian weapons were useless in campaign, but the bolt shot was extraordinarily powerful in multiplayer due to being a pocket shotgun that you can spawn with. The DMR was even more broken than in Reach and made every other loadout primary irrelevant. The care packages added a system of random to Halo. The game was designed around sprint, so rest in peace Halo's original map design. The lines of sight were so long that close quarters was killed. Vehicles had such poor armor that vehicle combat became irrelevant. The loadouts let you spawn with different weapons, grenades, armor abilities, and perks, which added so many variables that the Halo experience was impaled by the long dick of Call of Duty, which this game draws so much from. Call of Halo. Every single problem in Halo Reach was fully dissected, with fixes proposed by the community. But 343 didn't listen. All of the issues from Reach were jacked up with math and then put in Halo 4, so naturally the game was a disaster. The art style, the mechanics, flow of gameplay, everything in Halo 4 was an insult to Halo. Halo 4 is a terrible Halo game, so we complained. However, updates never did anything. We could never disable sprint, so the Halo game we wanted simply could not be found in this game. So, we fully dissected everything that was wrong with Halo 4 and proposed solutions, but 343 once again did not listen. 343 fuck you. Fast forward to 2015 and Halo has officially admitted defeat. It has abandoned its visual identity as well as its gameplay identity, with no remains left behind. Halo, the former champion of FPS gaming, is now competing for table scraps. Halo, the once legendary and acclaimed franchise, is following trends instead of setting them. Even though Halo 4 was torn apart and dissected like Reach before it, 343 once again still didn't listen. Halo 5 still has sprint. Halo 5 integrated multiple armor abilities into a single system that everyone spawns with and merely gave it a new name. And you dumb motherfuckers fell for it, acting like it's completely different. Halo 5 still has a dodgy art style, and the game looks so much worse than Halo 3 half the time. Some of the balancing is still stupid, and then the division of the community was cemented. Arena, Breakout, and Warzone only segregate the fanbase even further. None of them appealing to the Halo veterans, mind you. Oh, and then we have the icing on the cake, the one thing that can kill community. Killing community features. Forges do not have an effective way to share their maps, and split screen was removed for arbitrary and refutable reasons. There is no doubt in my mind that this was done in order to sell more Xbox Ones. Don't even get me started on the 4-hour campaign, terrible story, retarded DLC model, why the removal of split screen is so offensive, and the lack of content. Halo 5 is just a mess, and it is genuinely jarring how anything in this game could have possibly turned out the way it did. Reach scared off a lot of the competitive community, but here is why it was still popular years after its release, and why Halo 4 and 5 died in labor. I will be reading a comment left by one of my viewers. When I saw his comment, I just immediately agreed and had to put it in this video. Here's an annotation, click it and it'll take you to his channel. Anyways, here's what he said. Reach started that shit, but at least in Reach there are classic playlists that didn't conform to the new FPS trends. It wasn't that bad. Not as good as Halo 1 to 3, but still, not bad. If you didn't like the rank system in Reach, there were CSR ranks and arena ranks. If you don't like Bloom, then you can play Zero Bloom playlists. If you hate armor abilities and sprint, then you can play Zero armor ability playlists. Don't you love options? Reach may have had some things that many players hated, but at least you could choose not to have anything to do with them when you play online. Halo CEA comes out without any multiplayer. Lame. Halo 4 took it to a new level of crap though. You can't turn off sprint in that game, it's just shit you gotta deal with. MCC doesn't even fucking work. 343 can't copy and paste a 10-year-old game that's already made. That's like copying a smart kid's homework and failing miserably because you're too stupid to even work a pencil. Halo 5 got even worse.
Can't turn off Spartan abilities and matchmaking, limited content, no split screen, shit campaign, noob-friendly COD-like feel to the gameplay, and worst of all, microtransaction horseshit. But the list just goes on and on like a never-ending trail of bullshit. These new changes alienate us old fans in a pathetic attempt to steal the COD kids away from COD, which is a stupid ass idea because COD kids are just gonna play COD. Meanwhile, us loyal Halo fans are too disappointed to go on with the franchise. I'm still playing Reach in Halo 3. Fuck you 343 and your bullshit.
This comment is perfect. Before, we had options, we could play the game the way we wanted, but not only is Halo 5 not Halo, but if they tried to make it more like Halo by disabling Spartan abilities, the maps would just be too big and you couldn't even crouch jump to get to a higher platform, meaning that the classic Halo gameplay would render these new maps unplayable. As a result, classic Halo has been effectively killed in Halo 5. In Weapons Grade's latest video, he spoke about the Halo Triangle, the three mechanics of gameplay that shouldn't be strayed from: shooting, grenades, and melee. I feel like the one-time pickups and vehicles should have a spot here, but Weapons Grade's diagram is nonetheless a really good model for the Halo formula. Sure, Halo 5 has even starts now, but Halo is so much more than just even starts. Unreal Tournament has even starts, but if Halo became UT, would you all be satisfied? Well, yeah, you actually would. I don't mean to make a hate video, and I don't mean to say that all 343 fans are mindless fanboys. There are people in their fanbase who are critical thinkers, who can justify their arguments with facts and reasoning. The issue is that the majority of 343 fans, and yes, a majority, are overwhelmingly ignorant. If you disagree with these people, they will tell you to go back to Halo 2 despite it being unplayable online at the moment. They'll tell you that all you want is a Halo 3.5. They'll pull the Halo needs to evolve card. They'll pull the various Bungie cards in their quote-unquote arguments. They assume that if you're not with them, then you could only be a biased Bungie fanboy who can't take the nostalgia goggles off, or a Halo hater. 343 could make Halo 6 an open-world action RPG where you slay dragons, and most 343 fans would still say it feels like Halo. They could make Halo 6 a visual novel with a dating simulator mechanic, and 343 fans would still say it feels like Halo. They could release a Halo-themed refrigerator, and you would all claim it to have the best multiplayer experience in franchise history. You guys say all we want is a Halo 3.5, but the only people who would dish out full price on a Halo 3 rehash, who would wildly defend it, who would claim it to be the best thing ever, are 343 fans. I've been playing a lot of Halo Online lately, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically Halo 3.5 for PC. As a result of it being Halo 3.5, I would never spend a goddamn cent on a game, much less full price, because it's the exact same game. Don't confuse this with a re-release. This is a rehash. And if 343 rehashed Halo 3 is a full price game, it's pretty obvious which side of the Halo fanbase would be camping outside GameStop for it. Don't get me wrong, there are 343 fans and 343 YouTubers who possess intelligence. Don't be offended if you are not an offender. I repeat, don't be offended if you are not an offender. The issue is that the corporate slaves are the majority of 343 fans and 343 YouTubers, and it's really sad that these 343 YouTubers who defend everything that, 343 and Microsoft do are the representatives of our community, yet are so surprised that the community is so divided. Fanboys defy logic, and as such will defend their favorite company at all costs, even if it means becoming a hypocrite to defend them. For instance, before Warzone Firefight was announced, most 343 fans said, "No, it's not needed. It's not a staple feature." Some even saying, "Oh, it was bad. Bungie was trash." But then, when Warzone Firefight was announced, guess how the 343 fans reacted? Universal and unlimited praise. Oh my god, I'm so happy that Firefight is back. See guys, 343 cares. I'm so glad that they're giving us so much free content. If 343 cared, then the game would have launched with Firefight. I mean, isn't your rhetoric here a little bit self-defeating? These fanboys, they know nothing of skepticism, yet will outright lie. They regurgitate the claim that Halo 5 was the most successful Halo game, and started claiming that VG charts was an unreliable source only when they released Halo 5's laughable sales figures. VG Chart's sales figures for Halo 5 can actually be corroborated by the game's player count being lower than Star Wars Battlefront, Microsoft's unwillingness to disclose either the player count or the sales figures
For the first time in franchise history.
and their inclusion of hardware sales in Halo 5's box office, as well as the general lack of Halo 5 media on launch day. Remember how the world itself just exploded over Halo 3 and Reach's launch? Yeah, Halo 5 just came and went. If Halo 5 was such a success, wouldn't Microsoft proudly tell us how many units were shipped in the first day, the first week, thus far? If Halo 5 was such a success, wouldn't the game's matchmaking system proudly display the number of players online? If Halo 5 was such a success, then why would they have to put hardware gross into the final number? If Halo 5 was such a success, wouldn't YouTube have exploded with Halo 5 content, much like the launch of Halo Reach and 3? If Halo 5 was such a success, then why was it reported that it was the lowest selling Halo game? If Halo 5 was such a success, then why is it not in the top 3 most played games on Xbox Live? Because remember, Halo 3 sold 12 million and it was always spot number 1 until Modern Warfare 2 came along, which sold 13.48 million copies on the 360. Funnily enough, Black Ops 3 on the Xbox One has sold 6.75 million units and is far ahead of Halo 5. Compare Black Ops 3 on the Xbox One to Halo 3 on the 360. Now look at the most played list. Do you see the anomaly here? The anomaly is Microsoft's claim that Halo 5 is the biggest success in Halo history. It's also really funny that Halo 5 is always behind Star Wars Battlefront, a game that actually has publicly disclosed play counts. So, at most times, Halo 5 will have less than 10,000 players. Halo 3 and Reach retained a significant percentage of their population for years to come, years after the successor came out. So why has Halo 5, supposedly the most successful Halo game yet, retained less than 1% of its consumer base a mere 5 months after launch? The 1% is based off the VG Charts data, but even if Halo 5 sold a lot more than VG Charts said, that would only mean that the population drop was even bigger than we previously thought. So either way, Halo 5 just fails. These people claim that Halo 5 does not in fact have aim down sights, which is nothing but buffoonery. Look at this. You aim down the sights. This is an animation and it is very obviously visualized. ADS also gives you peripheral vision, unlike the scoping of the previous Halos. It doesn't matter that your accuracy isn't increased to the degree that it is in other games. It doesn't matter that your movement when ADSing in Halo 5 isn't penalized. It doesn't matter that there's a different fucking name. What matters is that ADS stands for aim down sights, which is what occurs in Halo 5. The fact that it applies to every single weapon in the game is a huge giveaway as well, meaning that not only does it take away from Halo's visual identity, but the peripheral vision and application of every single weapon means that Halo's gameplay identity is dead as well. Here we have the gold mine, Halo Waypoint Forums. Take a look at a screenshot. Tasting Rook 70 is giving his criticism on Halo 5's DLC, and his complaints are all legitimate and justified. All of this stuff should have been in the game. But then we have Pugstachio tuning in with the single greatest fallacy of all time. Stop hating. It simply doesn't qualify as an argument. So then we scroll down to McGrunty, whose comment was hidden for being considered unconstructive. He's telling Pugstachio here that he's a corporate slave, hence, Ba said the sheep. If unconstructive posts are to be hidden, then why hasn't Pugstachio's post been hidden? Because Pugstachio is a fanboy, and 343 needs the fanboys.
You know, I want to engage in a debate without toxicity or hate. I really do. But I think that if we want Halo to improve, first we have to identify the problems that the series is facing. And the main thing preventing 343 from making a good Halo game is that their fanboys are some of the most difficult individuals to communicate logic with.
I want 343 fans to stop letting yourselves be abused, but a 343 fan in the comments will undoubtedly call me a hater, or a Halo hater, or a Bungie fanboy, or tell me that all I want is a Halo 3.5 or that I should go back to Halo 2. It always happens. Are the classic fans to blame? No. Just no. It is purely the developers' fault for the division of the community. Remember how the community was in perfect harmony before Reach? While there are toxic individuals in the classic fanbase, we generally have the capacity to point out the flaws in Bungie's Halo games and actually use facts and statistics in our arguments. 343 fans almost universally see no need to critique 343, that they are the best thing to ever happen to Halo, that they've reinvigorated the series, that the king of FPS is back, that 343 is perfect. Even when they do present the criticisms, they're too little too late. They're all about inconsequential shit. They don't make a big deal out of shit like the MCC not working for 113 days. 343 fans would just group together to defend all of the evil shit that 343 does. Guess which crowd defended the bolt shot in Halo 4? The removal of split screen in Halo 5. Double melees. The MCC's horrible launch. The MCC not working for 113 days. The fact that 343 never fully addressed these issues or even acknowledged them. The lack of content in Halo 5. The short campaign of Halo 5. The lackluster story and characters of Halo 5. Halo Anniversary being marketed as a remake even though it was literally a graphics mod running on the same physics engine. Loadouts in Halo 4. Care packages in Halo 4. Halo 5's cliffhanger. Halo 5's false advertising. It was 343's fans who defended this. Guess who defended Halo 2's cliffhanger, Halo Reach's story, Halo Reach's place in the canon, Halo Reach's characters, ODST's price point, Halo 2's advertisements claiming that you would end up saving the Earth during the game, the library from Halo 1, Forerunners being implied not to be humans in the Halo 3 terminals, and any other retcons. No one did. People complained about these. Sure, a few defended them, and they were definitely Bungie fans, but enough people were aware of the fact that these were issues that the people in defense of these were outliers and thus insignificant. Sure, problems like Halo 2's cliffhanger were at least somewhat respectable, debatably, and weren't nearly as bad as what 343 would later do, but we still acknowledge them as issues. The only times where 343 fans, most of them anyways, identify a mistake on 343's end is after 343 already resolves or acknowledges it as such. You can't say it's a classic Halo fan's fault that Halo's in the state it is. That's like saying the Holocaust was the Jews' fault and not the Nazi party's. In this metaphor, the people who supported / voted for the Nazi party would be 343 fans. And I'm not trying to say that 343 is literally the Nazi party, it's just a metaphor. But these people, they should have seen the destruction of the Halo series ahead of time. They kept supporting 343, in spite of all the new information that kept coming out, in spite of all the shit that 343 kept doing. These people didn't cancel the CEA pre-orders, they didn't cancel the Halo 4 pre-orders. I understand staying with the MCC pre-orders, but I would have known not to trust 343. And they didn't cancel the Halo 5 pre-orders. In conclusion, Halo Reach started a fire that could very well have been put out, but 343 decided not to. It was up to the community instead to put out the fire, but an overwhelmingly large portion of the community decided to commit arson. That portion of the community being the 343 fanbase. The state that the community is in is a result of pathological altruism from 343 and their fanbase, and we need to come together, put aside our differences and work for a better Halo. But how? Again, I don't mean to hate and don't be offended if you're not an offender, but 343 fans vigorously defend everything 343 does and are willing to pull a 180 on a dime in terms of their arguments. So all we need to do to bring the community back together is push for 343 to make a classic Halo game, and a good one at that. Obviously not a Halo 3.5 because we need better community features, new maps, new weapons and vehicles, and small gameplay changes that reinforce the core gameplay instead of diverging from it. In this environment, every Halo fan will be pleased, and with the community back together, Halo sales will naturally increase. I don't want to be toxic, and I shouldn't have to be, but shit like this can get you angry, you know? I know 343 fans are very angry as well, as there's a lot of classic Halo fans who prioritize bashing 343 fans over engaging a logical discussion with them. The issue here though is percentages, and the percentage of 343 fans who are corporate slaves is unhealthy for Halo. It is killing Halo. You know Holocaust deniers? Yeah, there's now Holocaust deniers. People who believe that Halo is not only not falling in popularity, but is actually rising thanks to 343.
This absurdity needs to come to a close.
So, 343 and your fans, please get your shit together and fix Halo.
Oh yeah, and thanks for the 200 subscribers by the way. You guys, I just love you. My community is amazing. I can't believe it took me 8 months to reach 100 subscribers, and then just barely over a month to reach another 100. Seriously, guys, you're incredible. Keep up the amazing work. I love the comments. And I also love the comments from the 343 fans. You guys, that's some poetry from you guys.
This is Dandy, telling the Halo community to be dandy once more, so that Halo can be dandy once more. One final effort is all that remains. Peace.